كلام ده أننا ما بنقبل نكون دولة بتاعت فوضى، لأنه بلد ده زي ما قال سمير مدين أنياي وان هارب كان من أجل شنو؟ عشان يبني دولة فوضى. أنياي تو هاربت عشان تبني دولة الفوضى. SPLA كم 20 سنة عشان نبني دولة فوضى. أنا جيت جيل أنا ساو 200 واحد فينا يقول ما مرة بتاعه 200 واحد يقول فينا ما يا بتاعه 200 أنت ترتاح فينا داسة فينا 4 فينا 83 دخل الليلة واحد ما خرا ناخذ 200 لما نموتوا. فالكلام ده الكلام اللي قلناه. الكلام ده احنا نقوله. الكلام ده سياسيين ده كلام ده سياسيين ده في يده. لكن الحاجة اللي قدامنا يا جيش الشعب لتحرير السودان كانتوا ما قبلانين إنه ريان وشهر يرجع تاني. وناس ويايدين وناس غير وناس مجاعة وناس منو يرجع في وزاراتهم. والضباط اللي كان مشرق نفسهم يرجعوا. والجيش الأبيض ما يجي هنا نعمل شنو؟ عندنا 3 حاجات أننا بعمل. واحد كل واحد فينا يشيل عصاية لو ما عندك كلاشينكوف كل واحد فينا يشيل عصاية يشيل صوت ونمشي نهزم المتمردين. لأنه حتى السلفة بيقول إنه أنتوا جيش أنا لما نعمل اتفاقية وأعمل استيعاب عشان أنتوا ما قادرين تهزموا المتمردين عشان كده أنا بساعدكم. فلازم إحنا كلنا نهزم المتمردين عشان هم ما يلقوا فرصة ثانية يجي يعمل لهم لواء يعمل لهم أي حاجة. كلامنا مفهوم؟ لو هزمناهم وناس بيقولوا قال تمرد ما بهزموا منو قال الكلام ده؟ وينو LRA هسه في يوغندا هنا؟ ليه؟ جيش رب فينا يهودا ماشي قدام ما مشكلة بتاع يوغندا. كان في ثورة في بيافرا بتاع وجوكو متمردين كان ده نفسه بيافرا هزموهم. المتمردين احنا بنهزمهم ولو هزمناهم الاستيعاب بيكون على حسب رأي بتاعنا مش حسب رأي بتاعهم. ما يكون في استيعاب. ما في استيعاب. انت تجي للاين لما تغنيور وترجع تقول معلش دخلني جوا. وكان ما ركع ما يدخل جوا. وكان ما عجبه قبل في غابات في حيوان اقوى من لاين في غابه.
Ajan padara kulukum bidalmat. Ajan padara kulukum bidalmat. Dari ula magadam. Katim jani magadam. Arba madafa. Albaku madapat. Ya katim ula.
إذا وجد فاصلات الحكومة ومتمرد ولازم يحاسبوا. 3 حاجات نعمله. كده بنقفل باب بتاع التمرد ده. باب بتاعنا نقفله للأبد. كلامنا مفهوم؟ كلام ثاني. لنفرض أننا قبلنا كلام بتاع الحكومة وقبلنا الاتفاقية. وريق وجه جاء قال واني قوم فوق. ها؟ ده كلام كويس هسه؟ ده حاجة بنسأل كان قبلنا وقلنا خلاص نقبل الاتفاقية وريا ما كان يجي ويقول واني هاي قوم فوق هرجع ورا وانتوا سمعوا كلام بتاع الناس الاستوائية ناس وايا قال لا أنا ما قبلانين باتفاقية ده اتفاقية يخلي وانيقة يرجع ورا ما في ده كلام بتاع الناس الاستوائية.
po ga yi to na ma go janin ka bo ura de piut hambo tong un le je ba nga ya ga nu to bi ha twin nge de na ku wa da ga chi tyop cham gol do me gyang de bi ura ye u chi pe to la to bi uri ga bi chang riam bi ko tang da ku ya go wo bian bu ni chen nge ta ina chol deng de to ba jam ri nge de no ko nye jung ter deng tim ko riam Pal biag de ya na ba we ra ngong den chui ba lo ge tong a pyo mon di de bu nya sal ni ka barak den ka ma fi ka la ma lwa da ge le ba kwa na ya yam gutim in chi pi de wai to ge ne de pyo wa wu ra de pyo a chwe ma de pyo unde po ga yi to na ma go ja nin ka bo ra wu ra de pyo ha mo tong a din le ge ba nga ya ga nu to bi ha twin nge na de na ku wa da ma chi tyop cham gol da me jwan de biura ye u chi pe to la tyop yo rio ga bi tyang riam bi ko tang da ku ya go wo bion bu ni chen nge to ina cha la meng de to ba jam ri nge de no ko nya jung en ter deng tim ko riam par biak de ya na ba we ra ngong den chui ba lo ge tong a pyo mon di de bu nya sal ni ka barak den ka ma fi ka la ma lwa da ge le ba kwa na ya yam gutim in chi pi wai to ge ne tul kia warwa bu kia uni yang na gwer wo wer tyo ber ya ma go chwo nyol ko gum de ma ya chu ke funga yo ga e chung na lor won bi wo tang da no kwel ba ryo ya de ku nu gare ding da bi do wo nim twen ko wa nga wer wie ku we ti chi gele ka tong ma taw ga ro wo nim twen Pira ni yang ya ma ku ba ya la bi ya ta gri chi rai ben haru de ya la di mi ga de nga wanga ra chi po la wala bu kwa da premu wanga wai to wa chwe ga ben tu le ga woni nga to ka we jur ba ja mo ku ri de na kwat bi baran di ra wo ga mo bu ma loy loy du di da myal a chwe ra di da myal wanga dong ba ku yam ba lo anaran
لكن لما الجيش الشعبي لتحرير السودان جاء ناركون فاو بدبابات وجماعة المعركة دي ما استغرت وما أخذت فترة طويلة جدا. إنما أنتم شايفين هسه الوابورات الهرجة هسه بتمشي النيل الأمواج بيشيل ماشي ودي وشمال وهي بتحرك بقية بتاعت الوابورات أساسا هي ماشية الضفة الغربية وأنتم زي ما شايفين الجيش بتاعنا بيضرب المجرمين هم قاعدين يجروا في الوابورات والوابورات بتحرك في وابورات ثانية أساسا جاء في الضفة الشرقية لأن الأمواج جاء في الضفة الشرقية بتحرك. فأنا عايز أسيب لكم فترة بسيطة جدا علشان إحنا نشوف الوابورات دي كم عددها كم والوابورات دي كان فيها شنو والوابورات دي أساسا كانت أساسا وابورات منو. ما يبوشك لما تشوف علم بتاع جنوب السودان مرفوعة في هذه الوابورات. فعلا الوابورات دي أساسا كانت وابورات بتاعت حكومة بتاعت جنوب السودان والوابورات دي أساسا كانت تستخدم في المنطقة. لكن طبعا وكانت في عالم بتاعت جمهورية جنوب السودان. ففعلا واحد من المعجزات وهتسمعوا في كلام بتاع قادة بتاع الجيش الشعبي لتحرير السودان الناس حضروا المعركة دي الوابورات هرقت لكن عالم بتاع الجيش عالم بتاع جنوب السودان مع انه ده قماش الحديد هرق الحدايد الشنوب لكن العالم المصنوع من القماش العالم ده ما هرق ودي معجزة من المعجزات زي ما انتم شايفين عالم بتاع جنوب السودان لسه بتربرب والبابور المصنوع من الحديد المصنوع من شنو؟ الوابور ده هرقت تماما. الأسلحة هرقت شنو هرقت لكن عالم بتاع جنوب السودان ما هرقت وهتسمعوا الكلام ده في كلام بتاع قادة بتاع الجيش الشعبي لتحرير السودان الأشرفوا على معركة مرلوط. وانتم شفتوا كيف الجيش بتاعنا كسب المعركة معركة بتاع مرلوط وانتم شفتوا الجيش بتاعنا كيف قدر يدمر ويحرق الوابورات ويحرق الرفاصات وانتم شفتوا بعينكم المجرمين المتمردين قاعدين يجروا كثير جدا منهم غرق في البحر كثير منهم مات حريق في الحريق تظاهرات كثير منهم قدر انه او بسيط جدا قدر يعبر للضفه الغربيه، وده ياوتوا الناس يشوفوا الجيش بتاعنا كان بيضرب. قال لهم انتوا ادخلوا جوا من الجوا تقدر تلقبوا. عشان كده ولي خش جوا وناس بتاع خش جوا وياو شفناه الناس اللي كانوا خش جوا والناس دي بداوا ينزلوا البرامج بتاعتهم. فانتوا انا عايز اقول لكم انه فعلا المعركه دي اساسا شاركت فيها قوات بتاع الدفاع الثاني، وكذلك قوات بتاع التمساح يانجيت، وقوات بتاع التايجر اللي احنا رسلناها من هنا، وقوات خاصه وحدات بتاعت الدعم بتاعت الجيش الشعبي لتحرير السودان شاركت في المعركه دي وهزمت المعركه. فانا عايز احيي واهني هذه القوات وهني هذه الابطال الذين انجزوا هذه المهمه وكسبوا هذه المعركه. لان زي ما كنتوا بتسمعوا في التلفزيون وفي روائح العالم انه المتمردين سيطروا على ابار البترول وسيطروا على مرلود وفلوج وادار ومحلات الكل. في الوقت انه مسافه من مرلود كان بيسيطر على ده لغايه منطقه بتاع فلوج ما اقل من حاجه بتاع 35 كيلومتر. لكن طبعا الكذب اسرع من الحقيقه، وفعلا الناس كذبوا انه المتمردين سيطروا على مصافي بتاع البترول وسيطروا على مناطق البترول وعملوا حاجات كثيره جدا. لكن يا هسه الرياح انقلبت، وانا اعتقد انه اي متمرد هسه لسه جاري خالص هم جاري وهيجروا وفي النهايه ما هيلقوا ما هيشوفوه. عملهم بدوا حدود بتاع السودان ده عملهم، لكن ما في اي محل ثاني، ما في حفره بقدر يدخل فوق في جنوب السودان. فانا فعلا عايز احيي واهني الفريق جيمي جمع مول، هو نائب رئيس هيركان للعمليات، هو بنفسه مشى عشان هو يشرف على عمليه بتاع معركه بتاعت ملول، وكذلك شارك ورافقوا في نفس المهمه الفريق منار بوما البيل مفتش بتاع الجيش الشعبي لتحرير السودان، وانضموا الى زميلهم الفريق جونسون جونجليو، وفعلا جاء من الشمال اللواء ستيفن بويرونيان قائد بتاع الجاموس البطل. وفعلا زي ما وريناكم شفتوا ناس اللواء دلوات باو وعميد منيال لودياك والضباط الكبار الكتار شاركوا في هذه
Maban Jola Wayal, Jolkaina Ula, Bigor, Duga Bigwang, Nuadam, Itie, the soul, Abagatong, Maya Bigwali, the Kuyukoni of a job, Yomisole, Yaser, when a Yayan, the one like you on Wimangal, Conway, Mundela, they are Kama, Papa, the Dillen. Rumba buawe na bai benjal yang nyun bang kaduru wono gaje lakda wono kombai duru wono nyela kian
Hello, everyone. Good evening, everybody in North America. Good morning, Africa. And good afternoon, Australia. This is Billy Luke. I'm coming live for at least probably 1 hour. And I have just shared the link. So for those of you who would want to join, please, you can click the link there. Before we do that, let me share the link again. Stay tuned. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are ready to join the live video. Join me on the studio, please. I have been waiting for the guests. Unfortunately, I think they are experiencing some problem. So instead of boring you with the music, I would like to proceed with the program. But I have just shared the link out there, but I was waiting for some guests. Maybe they have a difficulty joining me, so I have to continue with the topic. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think you can read the topic there. I was actually coming live initially to introduce to you the topic. The topic is about Jieeng Padang call for unity with Maban and Komo in Upper Nile State. Padang Jieeng condemned the initial interrogation of Padang Jieeng general who heroically respond to the defense of civil population in Bayajak, Balus County, 2 weeks ago, when the SPLA-IO forces actually attacked on the innocent civilian in their residences in Malus County. So the main reason why Jieeng Padang is actually calling for the unity with the Maban and the Komo people is basically because Maban and Komo had become the victim of the SPLA-IO, and the second victim of the SPLA-IO is actually Jieeng Padang. We have seen the recent attack on Bayajak in Malus County, following the displacement of the civil population of Maban civilian from the local residences in Maban County and Komo. So the vast majority of the civil population of Maban and Komo are now residing in the area of Jieeng Padang. So after the civil population of Maban and Komo were displaced, they were received by the Jieeng Padang, and now they are settling in the area of Jieeng Padang. As a result, Jieeng Padang came to make a consideration so that they can actually call for the unity between the Maban people, so they can come together with Jieeng Padang so that they can actually coexist peacefully, because this tribe, the Komo and Maban, they are very peaceful people, and they get along very well with Jieeng Padang. They get along very well. They do not actually involve themselves in the cattle rustling. They do not actually involve themselves in the ethnic killing of their neighbors. And that is a good thing about Maban people and Komo as well. So had Jieeng Padang people in Upper Nile State, I think it came to their consideration that they should actually call for unity among these three tribes, the Komo, Maban, and Jieeng Padang. They can get along because they do not threat each other. So this is why it is very important for Jieeng Padang to actually embrace the unity among the three tribes of Upper Nile State. And that's why you see in the previous 32 states, Komo and Maban were able to share the same state together with Jieeng Padang. Because Maban and Komo are very, very peaceful people, and they do coexist harmoniously with their neighbors. So for that case, ladies and gentlemen, it came to consideration that Jieeng Padang should actually welcome them, receive them, and house them in their residences. And they have to make sure they invited the Maban people in Komo so that they will continue to put unity and coexist together as people that get along among themselves. So this is why it is very important for Jieeng Padang to embrace the idea of calling for the unity with the Komo and Maban people. And these three tribes have a common thing. They have something in common. That means they are also being threatened by the SPLA-IO. And the SPLA-IO was actually attempting to coax or to intimidate the civil population of Maban and Komo so that they can actually join the rank and file of the SPLA-IO. So some sons and daughters of the Maban people that have already joined the SPLA-IO rank and file have been attempting to recruit most of the civil population so that they can actually join the SPLA-IO. So you cannot recruit people into a certain entity or a political organization or military organization by use of force. And that is the result of what transpired in the area of Komo and Maban as a result of political and military recruitment by the SPLA-IO forces. Some of these elements are actually known on social media. All of us are aware of this individual, as well as some of the generals that are in the IO forces. So when they went to the area of Komo and Maban, they tried their best so that they can mobilize the Maban people and Komo so that they can actually join the rank and file of the SPLA-IO. So as a result of being resisted by the Maban and Komo people, SPLA-IO respond in a very negative way, which actually led to the clash between the civil defense force of the Maban and Komo against the IO. And that is why the civil population of Komo and Maban ended up being displaced. And now majority of them are always being hosted and received by the Jieeng Padang. So as a result of that, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is crucial, it is very important for Jieeng Padang to actually embrace a peaceful neighbor like Maban and Komo so that they can actually coexist in harmony. So this is an attempt to call for the unity with Maban and Komo so that they can actually live side by side in peace with Jieeng Padang and defend themselves against more impending attack from the IO. Now, the SPLA-IO is actually plotting to attack Jieeng Padang. And so as a result of that, you know, Jieeng Padang have to make sure they have to push unity with their neighbors so that they can be able to see the common enemy with one common front. And this is why it is very important for Jieeng Padang to have a unity with the Komo and Maban, because these three tribes are now victims of the SPLA-IO. So this is very important. And so I'm appealing to all Jieeng Padang out there so that you can start forging a new unity so that you can actually coexist in harmony with your neighbors, peaceful neighbors like Maban and Komo. In addition to that, I would also want to extend my personal gratitude and appreciation to the civil population of Jieeng Padang for the generosity and hospitality they have actually granted to the displaced civil population of Maban and Komo. That is very kind of you, and we are very, very, very grateful for your generosity and hospitality at Jieeng Padang. This is very, very important. And you also know very well that Jieeng Padang used to share the same state together with the Komo and Maban when they used to share the same state together with the Jieeng Padang in northern Afanal state. So this is very important. So we appreciate the spirit of social cohesion, the spirit of togetherness demonstrated by the Jieeng Padang in Afanal state. This is very crucial, and I believe the people of Maban and Komo will also be able to embrace the same idea of being received by the Jieeng Padang and being hosted by the Jieeng Padang. So we are encouraging you to continue with the same spirit so that you can actually live together in unity and tranquility. And then you can also be able to defend yourself against anyone that threatens your civil population. So this is very important. This is very important. So for those of you who join the IO, you need to think twice. You need to think twice. The more you victimize the innocent people that have nothing to do with the government, I don't understand the reason why these people are being victimized. I don't understand why Maban, Komo, and Dinka in Upper Nile are actually being targeted. They are not the one holding the government seat. So if you are actually fighting the government of South Sudan for a political reform, or you are fighting for the leadership position, it would be wise for the SPLA-IO to only focus on their target. And their target is in Juba. The target is not even in the area of the innocent people that have nothing to do with the political wrangling in the country. So the fact that IO continue to terrorize and terminate the civil population must be condemned in a very strongest term possible, and we should not allow this to be entertained. So the civil population must make sure they coexist, and they should actually abstain themselves in indulging in political affairs. So the civil population on the ground are actually asking a question as to why they are always being targeted by the IO. So this question ought to be answered by the leadership of the so-called IO forces or by the Agweli. So the second topic is going to be addressing the recent attack by Ajak in Malus County. Jieeng Padang would also want to refute the fact that some people are actually running propaganda on social media, propagating against the Jieeng Padang, who are actually the victim of the SPLA-IO, as well as the Agweli forces. So Jieeng Padang were initially attacked by the IO. And this was an attack that was actually broadcasted. It was a premeditated attack, orchestrated by the leadership of the SPLA-IO and Agweli, their proxy. So General Johnson Ulonyi himself talked about this attack, a pending attack that is going to come from the direction of Maban, from the direction of Nasser, from the direction of Lawnway, from the direction of Gawe, and that they're going to converge possibly somewhere in the area of Jieeng Padang. And this was just an initial attack. And Jieeng Padang is actually bracing for a possible more attack to come. Because this thing has been premeditated, it has been pre-planned by the leadership of the Agweli and the IO. So something is actually being coordinated, and we are aware of this. So what happened last week was an initial raid made into the area of Jieeng Padang as a result of an internal intelligent operative that are being employed or deployed by the SPLA-IO and the Agweli. So these intelligent operatives are actually operating inside the area of Jieeng Padang, particularly in the main town, in areas of Jieeng Padang. And so Jieeng Padang came to collect an intelligent information, and what they came to discover is the fact that some of these intelligent operatives deployed by the forces of the SPLA-IO and the Agweli are there in the areas of Jieeng Padang as a sleeping cell. But the civil population of Jieeng Padang are not aware. That is why it was very, very easy for the IO to penetrate into the area of Jieeng Padang and attack deep inside Malus County, leaving some of the residences or areas of Jieeng Padang that are outside the border, and attack deep inside Malus County, which is actually in the middle of Afar state. So the fact that this attack from the IO was able to be executed very successfully was because of the logistic, intelligent communication and guidance given by the intelligent operative deployed by the IO and Agweli inside the area of Jieeng Padang. So these intelligent operatives, some of them were actually caught with the communication devices they have a very sophisticated communication device. They use like a satellite, to communicate directly with the chain of command of the IO that are actually loitering out there in the bush. And they use the same communication with their Gwelek. So this is what was actually being discovered in Poloch, in Maluth, even in Malakal, in Ren, in Korpulus, in PG as well. So there are these intelligent operatives of the Gwelek and the SPLA-IO that are employed inside the area, deep inside the area of Jieeng Padang. And these are the one committing the act of espionage. They are there as spies on behalf of the Gwelek and on behalf of the SPLA-IO, prior to the premeditated attack to be executed by the leadership of the IO and the Gwelek. So this is exactly what is actually behind the recent attack in Bayajak. So the attack on Bayajak actually was executed very successfully by the element of the IO forces, and their primary target was actually to confiscate the cattle of the local people, and that's how they end up killing the local people that they found in the cattle camp. They were killed in cold blood, and then the cattle were actually taken away. So as a result of that, the users of Maluz actually reacted, and they pursue the cattle until they recovered them. So that was a very successful operation. In addition to that, the alleged killing of the so-called element of the IO in Paloch came as a result of the intelligent operation that came to discover that some of these elements of the Gwelek and the SPLA-IO forces that are deployed in the area of Jieeng Padang, they are also being discovered to be heavily armed. They have a firearm, they have ammunition with them in their residences. So some of them went to the market and they provoked the intelligent operative from the area. So as a result of that, one of these IO operatives shot a bullet in the air, and then they ran to their residence. So when they were pursued by the intelligent officers in Paloch, they were already found arms in their residence. So they start shooting out. Against the intelligent officers in Paloch. That is how this element of IO ended up being killed. So the fact that members of the Gwelek and IO are actually propagating this as a propaganda against Jieeng Padang is totally unacceptable. And this is why I'm here to condemn the same thing, so that we have to dismiss and we have to make sure we have to fight back against this propaganda being made against Jieeng Padang. Jieeng Padang are the victim. They were attacked in their own indigenous land, and they deserve to defend themselves. They deserve to crack down on the element of their Gwelek and SPLA-IO forces that are embedded in the areas of Jieeng Padang, that are now operating as spies. So these people are actually deployed there as agents of the IO and Gwelek, and they are actually committing espionage against Jieeng Padang, so that they can be able to detect where there is a vulnerability to give the IO and the Gwelek the opportunity, so that they can be able to launch a all-out war against Jieeng Padang area, as was actually broadcast by Gerald Johnson. Gerald Johnson is actually responsible for the so-called sector of the IO. So he's the one in charge of this command. So any insecurity against the Jieeng Padang in these areas have to be attributed to Gerald Johnson. So Gerald Johnson is the one responsible. And we have been playing numerous videos. We have been collecting a lot of audios from Gerald Johnson. And we have been presenting to you all this evidence. These are hard copy evidence by Gerald Johnson himself. And I don't think anybody here can actually dispute them in any way. So I want to bring this to your attention, ladies and gentlemen, particularly the Jieeng Padang in particular, that there are more attacks are pending. More attacks are actually coordinated by the IO and the Agwele. And for your information, I have just revealed to you that there are sleeping cells that are already deployed inside the areas of Jieeng Padang, particularly in the main town. These people whom you have actually received as innocent people, they are living with you. Not only are they committing acts of espionage, they are also heavily armed. They have ammunition, they have a firearm in their possession to be used against you in case an all-out war is going to be launched by the chain of command of IO and Agwele. So we are actually urging you at Jieeng Padang local authorities to make sure you carry out a general inspection against the local people that are living inside your legal jurisdiction. Because these people, they are believed to be heavily armed, including those who are actually IDPs, those who are actually working as if they are working for the government of South Sudan, those who are also working as humanitarian agencies. These are the people operating as if they are just there as normal citizens. But matter of fact, these IO and Agwele supporters, they are heavily armed. They have gun in their possession to be used against Jieeng Padang. And this is what you need to take note of it. So we strongly recommend the general inspection operation to be carried out in your respective areas for the sake of your security. In addition to that, you should also carry out general inspection so that you can be able to collect all the communication devices that are in the possession of this element of the SPLA-IO and Agwele. Because those communication devices were the one being used to direct, to guide, and to provide logistics electronically, which actually led to the attack at Bayajak in Maluz County. So it was because attack on Bayajak was very, very successful, simply because there was a communication within Maluz itself, which actually gives the guidance logistic, physical logistic, because they were able to communicate on the electronic device. That is how IO was able to infiltrate into your area, deep inside Maluz County. So there is a need for a robust security check in the area of Jieeng Padang. So this message is going directly to the county authorities, to the Payam authorities, to the Buma administrators, so that they can actually act in self-defense. And this is part of the defense strategy. You should be able to know who is around you. You should be able to know who is actually in your residence and what they are doing. People need to be very watchful this time. People need to be vigilant. You need to be on maximum alert so that you have to know exactly what is actually coming next. So this is for your information, ladies and gentlemen. In addition to that, we would like to bring to your attention as well that one of the son of Jieeng Padang is actually being interrogated for what happened, but that also raised a red flag as well as to why. We Jieeng Padang have 4 questions, but we will come with more detail tomorrow when we come back live. nobody should be able to interrogate Jieeng Padang, because Jieeng Padang are the victim. They were attacked in their own indigenous land. They did not attack anybody in their indigenous land. So Jieeng Padang have the right to self-defend against anyone, against any aggressor. It is very clear that these people who pretend to be innocent and they are living with Jieeng Padang are the enemy themselves, because they are using the communication device to actually collect information, and then they disseminate them to the leaders in the IO and Agwele. And this is very dangerous to the life of the civil population of Jieeng Padang. That's why Jieeng Padang must carry out general inspection against this civil population that live among you. So you need to take this very seriously, because it poses a security risk to the civil population of Jieeng Padang, and it is the ultimate obligation and responsibility of each and every citizen to be very watchful, to be vigilant, and to be ready at all times. So it is time to make sure you have identified this individual. All areas of Jieeng Padang are being infiltrated by the element of the Agwele and the SPLAIO. So this is not funny. This is not funny. All right. Life of Jieeng Padang matter, and we cannot just pretend that we are actually living with people peacefully, when in fact the very same people that are now living with you are the supporters of the SPLAIO and Agwele, and they are the one passing the information to the SPLAIO, and that's why SPLAIO is actually attacking you. You should have learned a lesson from what happened to the Maban and Komo, and that's why Maban became the victim of the SPLAIO and Agwele. All these SPLAIO and Agwele are operating under Gerald Johnson. So this kind of attack is actually being made against Jieeng Padang simply because Jieeng Padang is actually rejecting Johnson to become the governor. Because Johnson is a threat, and Jieeng Padang 100% will never be intimidated, and we will never be coaxed by use of force. We deserve the right to self-defend in our own territories, and anyone that actually cross that red line must be confronted. That message is very clear. If you want to live in the area of Jieeng Padang, you must not act as spies. That's exactly what happened. You can be a civilian. You may not be in a uniform, but you may be deployed as an agent of the SPLAIO or Agwele to come and spy in the area of Jieeng Padang. So to the Jieeng Padang local authorities, please, you need to take full responsibility of that. If you really care about the security of your people, please make sure you carry out a strong general inspection against this individual that live in your midst. These are internal threats. An enemy within is more dangerous than enemy outside your area, because it is very easy to fight the enemy that is coming outside, but it is very hard for you to fight the enemy that is living within. So for you to fight the external enemy, you have to make sure you get rid of the internal enemy. So yeah, na pia daret and because you ten na ira ni chol Johnson lo ni chi be ben mal ki ye na chene ke Jieeng tin Jieeng Padang dang ba tono we ga administrative area du na chin ke yen geri ka ti de be makan a cha ni cheng ne ko ji ai o wa gwe le gen support ka ke ni ka lo be ke ni ko che lu ya gwe le ku ji la o lu en support support bi rut yo mat ku ne jala lui ulaya den lakin Jieeng Padang the big rere cake e ko chit man to ke ten yi komo ku jama ban e ko ki ga yi ke recommend ke ko le big chen we ka a cha ne jur ke chol yi ban ke komo ka ke ko te ku ke ko ni che a chi go ku ne pe a chi ko ku ne chi ke lo pe lakin ko hun ke ka ja o in man to ke ten ke ngor e ke nya big rere ko ko nya ke bi ko no ko nya ke bi ko bi ke pe ka language aren gerich anya bale we ke we Jieeng Padang to apanal bagen diel ngijinu ache nuer banen ka chi gayo that's why anen ko bale we kula na ya ke jam medie ache nuer ban ade nuerun ka chi Jieeng Padang wangi jinu Jieeng Padang ge ide ka te acha na wala haja badaye de mashakal kane ke che michila da nuer ko Jieeng Padang ke michila da era ani chol be chan be ke jamulel de pin den tu jot ku ka pin Jieeng Padang ku na ye lege ne ran chol Johnson lon ku Johnson lon na lo yeken chaga ne de kwa we don't get off your eyes on the target. Just focus on the target. The target is ke yen Johnson lon ko yen ran chori a chara bilo le yen na ba ayo ku bi Jieeng Padang bu lo tek pande ta lo le yen ka bilo be ta la mat akene bi Jieeng Padang yen bi ke pin agora ran chol Johnson lon bu kwai o ki ga tiede Johnson lon ki ja e 100% ko chi kon ben ko chi chok tempin Jieeng Padang na bi ben tong ka bi yo tong ako bi ko en long ka bo yo long all option ben talk table kwa yin ku yemo yin ya mo fandu o Jieeng Padang che wuji kala pare ki ku loy pete wun ki jo ban ranen ki jo kenin bet lakini tong ken ko be jolo be ko yi na lo gen yore le mya ka tong ko la ko fa na rani a chi le bin bana no fandu ku be yin da nyon ni chi le bi lu yen ken ke ge jeren ga ka chi ken chi ga ku yur ka chol chi lu ka chi ken chi ku ke nyu yuan nyu Jieeng Padang ke ka chan bi re ke to nda chi ke pin ku na lo claim man ke kwa if that is the case ni ka jakon be du be ke ni bi ka le nyu ina bi ke nim benedict until bi mi chi la kana bi en kono yelo da ni chol Johnson lon ti mane wore de no na ti god ten a wi bi jo la tu ni je la ma kam chene le ma kam ku ye mane ko nyon yin deng ye kana bi Jieeng Padang yan sa de chi ti wi ra a chan na bi wolda wi ade ko na le gra na tong tel ku le yen lo hu la ka che la ko ni era nan yo na da la ke music ko ji ke le e ke na bi nge na be rio ja chira rio jen Padang chi position de chi geri ko Padang ai ja chi be mat ke yin be wa chi be mat ke yin no a cha yin no in ke Jieeng Padang e lu ku ye no ina choro da nyo de ina ja chuo da man a chuo de ke juru chol chulu ina chuo de ni chan butong to ku lu ko man chi gar la kan ko no ina ja chuo no ka la ko le ro yom nya la ko ke ye no go kwen ke ro ta mi chile ko man ji mo ko ne no re man ke ka nyu je man ga la chol kwa taw ki adam ngo ga yiten ku ke no wa ne kan nan ngok ene dueng lu ele kan ku kan ga chi ga go la ben big ben ba ja ko big lu le ne ka big Jieeng ben na ku ka rer ki ke ji e ko bi ga lo edi kwa we ga ko bang miscalculation a lo ku ke ka taw media ne they are preaching war ti manera ne ke ra ne chol ding tong e cholo ko ne min lazie ka ko ke la tong bi ko la tong ke ni Jieeng Padang ne ye ko ene ko en ki yi woni chol gai bol ene ko en ki yi woni chol fal gar ko ne woni chol ai de to Australia a tira an ku ne media ji o Jieeng Padang ke jam tong lakini ci o ki ka lu ki ka tit ani cha ga la video ko le yene jeng Padang ba lo le fa ba lo le o che ko che drama na iran yo go kin bo yo ko pil ko ba de na jam jeng Padang le ke jeng Padang lo wo for fagan e wo for fagan ngone ko lo ke ida na lo mi chi la kene ke ye mi chi la da e chi lu ko jeng Padang ku nwe ke ro la yop tin ngo wi nwe tin e kene ne chok jae ke ko wan na ngong la ya documentary sa ka ju ko nyu wan ibde na taw ba e ngan che cha de kan ku ke ga chen me lo wan ka cha tek lo wan man chi ku fa na yu li chi ke na tek wan ba ya jak ma lu ka ke ka ko lo ji ti ka woni ke jeng Padang jam le ye nan wuju la ya di kwan bre ka ye na ron a cha na ko ga chi ke nga chi ka ku so en ke justification ko lo ka wo jeng da e ban wala wo junubin woni jeng Padang ti ku le ye ngo jeng Padang ya bro that fit well as a result of a behavior se ko ke chakati ne ci lu jam ko ye Padang ben nyuo ku yeta ben wel ku le ke pin Padang no wi e ke ne ci Padang ci mane ni ci lu no latde nuwe e o ke jeng ye ka pe ke jeng ye no ke ne ci jeng ci man kwan ke ke lo na ci rot fin ga ci lu jilan war ka jala di ku la de la lo ku jeng Padang wi la de ke ne bi ta we be makan danga ba marwe ka we jeng Padang to fa Africa terrane randun la tito ku yela lota gi akira ne victim ne ben lota gi fande na de ran ci lu rek ko ci lu respond ki ko ken ge lu ke da fawu erane a ci pet lu interrogate a ci pet lu investigate ken ke market itself ci ben lota gi fande ko ku ko ke ken ka yo ko ci good idea ba we ta ka we send by na de ran ra Padang ti to ku la ngo ken lu wala ko ngo lu wala erane ga tinga di ko bude deal ke tu do not be intimidated by ko je la jam de jam gi ko we nyin nga in ki Padang in ke be lu attack fandu in ke lu attack fandu ku kwala oku until je lu respond kuran lo ene ne ke na attack wa ne ay olwel chane wa chak jaay bi di Johnson lo akin ke jidi de ne we e tango ye ngo lo all this time aka che yi Padang mi jo tiat ko le na lo ku yen tango ke na bi Padang riyo a chane ko ran cho Johnson lo nyobu gam sirot gam ne de real de ben ben to ji yen Johnson lo no kin mi ci lo ye as long nu ni ci wula ko take ken ka ne ko wiro ni kale ga lo ko la maji de den le ko ron maji na kin to hell within ran cho Johnson lo ci ran Johnson lo na ye ci lu den bi la maji na ci lu maji na ye combination ci nuwe rot pinga ge yen unu cho la yista nuwe ko yen ci rot pinga ge ci lu ka big lo bu wala de na big lo lo Johnson lo nya bla ko nke ya bande which I know so far anyway ye ci yista nuwe ci kan ya so ne ko ci beram ni mo la kene unity in gara anan men kwal nchar ba in no yondi ku lo en kalam pare kene ke disrespect kene ko disgrace wa ke ci chulu lo ke disgrace ke disrespect to jeng fada for your information wa kene nke ga bangi jene kan nke ga bangi kan ba we ko je ayo lo support wo chajen kun cha ke deploy among the civil population jeng fada we kene e kene ko kun tawo ne amwe wo ki ko kun ne yin sana ke chol mo to nin ka ke mi o je den aka ga ja ben den ke ci ke sala u den nya ke ammunition e kane ke ko kun ga tawo ne amwe if you are an army civilian then bare pa na randang gun brandang ba lo kan kuin e jam ke bodu wona ayo wala gwele ke yin ne enemy nchi le bare pa na randang baro ben wel ki terrorist a chan baran de nampa and ba ben terrorize by terminated e kene ka against the law wa jing Padang have the right to respond to ran te che chin mi ojang ran de run chiro lo ke yamin de ayo ka gwele we ko ja ben spy ku ja ben la yena wunu jing ato a chan wunu jing la pe a chan wunu ben gana wuju pe wan ago jeng da ayo go ina cham ago jeng da gwele ga go ina cham nke ke strategy ko lo kranka ago jeng da ayo ke jeng da gwele wunin jata wander sector de ne rane ko ke sector general rane chol Johnson ulun ago go jola ta geje ne wen wan jing Padang wan je pe ago je go jola cham bi wujum bi jola jat jing Padang so ke ya le we jing Padang ke civil population ko je ben ga yemo to ni ne rere we gije a chi ke mi o che ne ture communication device man ne ture de ne ko jam a chin interception no lo because communication telephone chi ke lo because ke grebol to ke jam ture e ko chi ke ta we gi madina ri gite kwene lo ya ta ken roka e kenen ke chi ran wan e ne kwan majirim chok ki e ban use en ke chi discover ka kwa ko wa ni ke yo ka ke ga duo ti ka dom ka e matter of time yen video dom ko lo record ko bi yen we a chan ba communication devices ke ba ka ti ka ji ka dom ko je la munition and fire am ji ka dom ti den ke ko ken ke lo ke ko ta gwe le ji la ko so actually not only this element ga there are some people even ko to hoji e ke le ne ran ti Johnson no nye lo wan le we ko kin to hoji ko a chan ko ke to IDC kam ga ga am man wane ko ke jing Padang ke no ko hoji kan na ke ga di ga chi kan na ga den ko chi ko ke unimi da chi ke lo inspected ko ken ke responsibility dun to we ko wona musulin ke jing Padang in ke le brane moton ma fola chan ko ke unimi da chi ke inspector ni chi ke lo chanen ge ko ke unimi ze ke cha jaw to ma chakal ben bay nyar ki chanen go lo den ngor ko la tu because then ke employment opportunity den so anin de ke lo bailen ayeke lo cha jaw to justify the extension of the mandate unte ke re fa ni Sudan. So yin ki local authority in the area ke responsibility to unless you want to ignore the security ko can ko bigger vulnerable to attack. Kenena which ba be jene ken kena ya queen chanen get security and no concern about the civil population dunu vulnerable. Doing one gonna jaga betting ma the chanen pinya matam and you don't know when BI or Benetech dan low. You don't even know when BI and BI will and Benetech the low. Yeah, my friend, we are waiting for that. We are waiting for that time. So we don't need this drama. This preemptive kind of talk I think will entertain on Facebook. If you are on the ground, you need to execute your plan. All this empty threat is never going to terrify anybody. So you can say all you want, but it's not going to terrify us. All right? It is you who just like to go around and cry fool when your plan didn't work. We are aware of all your plan. So don't think that you can actually intimidate anyone just by throwing word that I will do this, I will do this. There's nothing new about IO. There's nothing new about Agwelik. There's nothing new about White Army. All right? And that's the reason why you are actually being rejected overwhelmingly. Right? That's majority of the tribe in Afanal state. Because of this kind of reckless and lawless behaviors. I thought he took Avam because of the presidential seat. Now I don't see the reason why you should actually want to target the innocent people. By the way, the last comment is going to the government of South Sudan. They should actually take the full responsibility of protecting and defending the civil population across the country. That is the responsibility of the government. In addition to that, the government of South Sudan should also understand that the very same element of the IO and Awake that are actually deployed in the areas of Jieeng Padang, not only are they spying, not only are they committing acts of espionage against Jieeng Padang, so that they can easily infiltrate, or they can be able to provide direction and guidance and easy logistic for their posts to penetrate the area of Jieeng Padang in case of attack, because they have to assess the vulnerable areas or where they can be able to direct their forces so they can attack very easily. So this element of the IO and SPLA are also spying on the location and the government in installation in Upper Nile State. So that also for the security threat to the government of South Sudan. I mean, particularly the South Sudan People Defense Force. But when we talk here, we talk specifically about Jieeng Padang, who are a victim. They are a political victim and they are being victimized simply because they are rejecting Johnson to be appointed the governor. So they are willing, and the IO have this kind of mindset that Jieeng Padang have to be intimidated with violence as another strategy to make sure they can actually terrify them or to coax them or to, forcefully push them to believe that they can actually just give in and surrender. This is never going to happen. Jieeng Padang a cheng, Pande a cheng, Jieeng Padang a brother. It would be a shock on all over in. To let Jieeng Padang let Louis respond in a very ugly way, who be found around low in bed, then by then, ne jamlen wide army, wala jamna ayo, wala jamna gwele kekelen. This has been going on like that. So the talk doesn't make any difference. Each and every one along style of warfare. I have my own war strategy, and I know how I'm going to respond to that kind of threat. So the fact that people, IO and Agwelek, like to go to media, and then they like to spew some word of threat, thinking that your enemy can easily be terrified by a empty threat on media, it's never going to work, my friend. We understand the psychological warfare, and we are not the type of people that can easily be terrified by the psychological warfare. We believe in practical action. So there's nothing new about IO and Agwelek and White Army threatening Jieeng Padang. It will be met accordingly. I know this is very typical of IO and Agwelek and White Army supporters to actually bully people on social media. We are not the type of people to be bullied on social media, for your information. So don't mess with us. You're messing with wrong people. All right, everybody, I think I have to close the video. I have to close the video now. We are going to have a big show tomorrow, so this was just a preliminary introduction of the topic. And tonight I have a special meeting to attend. So I have to close the video. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before I close the video, I would like to read out to you, I think it appears like a joint letter that was written by the Kenyan and Padang leaders urged calm at the ethnic violent Rock Afanal state. I don't understand why they actually refer to this as an ethnic violence. There's nothing ethnic about this particular violence. This was a clear attack by the force of the IO. Yes, this was a clear attack from the IO. And this is what Gerald Johnson Olonye has been talking about as a possible scenario that is going to take place again in Jieeng. So here is one of the joint letter that appear to have been written together by the community of Jieeng and Padang. So leaders of Jieeng and Padang communities are calling for peace in the wake of the recent revenge attack that killed 12 people and left dozens wounded in Afanal state. The leaders of Jieeng, Padang, and Jieeng Nuer in the SPLM convened a brief meeting at the SPLM house on 19 January 2021, chaired by the former governor of Afanal state, Honorable Simon Kunfoch. This meeting was cognizant of the two incidents of attack in Malus County, Afanal state. According to a statement attended by the former Speaker of Parliament of the now defunct Maiwut state, Chuol, the first attack took place on 13 January in Bayajak and is believed to have been carried out by suspected armed men from Nathar County and Wuleng, Afanal state. You see? So the first attack was actually carried out. The first attack was carried out by the Nassau County and Wuleng County, Afanal state. The attack left 5 innocent civilians dead, including 2 young men, a child 2 women and an elderly person, and wounded more others. The attackers took over 500 to 700 head of cattle, though later all cattle were recovered. The statement further explained. The second incident took place in Paloch on 14, 2021, of which 7 civilians from Gajak lost their life and 5 others critically wounded. Due to these 2 bloody incidents in the state, leaders from the 2 communities of Jieeng Padang and Eastern Jieeng expressed their sadness and grief for the tragedy in the state. The following are resolutions reached after the meeting to address the situation in question. We, the leaders of these 2 communities, are abhorred by violent incident in Maluz County and condemn this attack against the civilian in both by Ajak and Paloch in the strongest term possible. Number 2, we convey our heartfelt sympathies and condolences to the bereaved families of Ajak village, and also condolences to the family of our beloved Gajak civilian killed in Paloch. Strongly appeal for the calm among the youth on both sides and work to restore peace immediately. We send this warning strongly to all elements to cease all form of provocation and negative propaganda. We urge all the youth to ease tension in the counties mentioned above and to engage in dialogue, the only viable means to restore peaceful coexistence and stability in our state. Appeal to the government of national unity to apprehend these criminals and bring them to justice. Appeal to all organized forces stationed in the area to protect civilian life and their property. You see, this kind of letter is an act of hypocrisy, and this letter was actually meant to blindfold the Jieeng Padang. Jieeng Padang are the victim. They were attacked in their own land. They did not go and attack somebody in their own land. And this was an attack orchestrated by the SPLAIO and the element of the Agweli. So the fundamental question ought to be raised, or ought to be asked, why were Jieeng Padang attacked and the civilian killed and their cattle taken away? At the same time, the SPLAIO and the Agweli have actually deployed some of the elements that act as spies, and they live among the Jieeng Padang. This element, they were caught with a gun, they were caught with the communication devices. This is one of the reasons why we are saying that these people that live in the midst of Jieeng Padang, they themselves are enemies. As we speak, you cannot find a single Jieeng Padang living in the area of Agweli or living in the area of Io. But now they come and live in Jieeng Padang area, and they are the one committing crime against Jieeng Padang. So Jieeng Padang communities that actually participate in this meeting, you appear to have been, compromised in terms of the reality of what transpired on the ground. The fact that the Jieeng community leaders have actually manipulated you to believe as if this is an ethnic attack is totally unacceptable. This was a coordinated, a politically driven attack against Jieeng Padang, just because you are actually rejecting John. And this is also meant to actually bamboozle you so you can accept the idea of sharing the state together with these very hostile and aggressive communities. Enough. How many times do you have to continue to call for peace, peace, peace? That's why Jieeng Padang want to isolate themselves, so they have to take charge of their own security. The only way this hostility and aggressiveness have to stop is when people are actually being segregated, so that each have to live in his own state. Then peace will come by itself. Peace is not when you attack an innocent people, kill them in their cold blood, and then confiscate their properties. That's not peace. So this act of stupidity must have to stop. I'm not here on this live video to entertain this kind of nonsense political language, because I know how to interpret any intended political mindset that they think they can actually bamboozle anyone to believe all this bullshit. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I will stop there. But tomorrow we will come back live, and then there is going to be a big show, and we are inviting everyone in advance. What I was just doing here was just an initial introduction of the would be a big topic tomorrow. I don't understand what this commentator is actually saying here, that there's no history of Jieeng Padang invading anyone in these days. Yes, because we are not an aggressive, we are not a hostile community. So there's no point whatsoever to invade your neighbor. It doesn't make any sense. So that's the reason why people are actually rejecting you, so that you can share the state together with Jieeng Padang, because you are too hostile and aggressive. That's the reason why people don't want to share the state with you. And because Jieeng Padang are peaceful and stable people, they like to live in harmony with their neighbors. That's the reason why they are fed up with you, and they don't want to share the same state with you. Yen and McCord and Mijolata Jamana, even I'm still looking tired because I just came from work. So, okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I think I have to end the video at 1:30 sharp.